Tampa pastor makes crazy video.
Hillary's book blamed it.
A prominent Trump supporter, Aubrey Shines, produced an online video attacking me.
So he continues to shine the light.
So we say to every leader, every pastor, every civic leader, engaging is not an option. Engaging is a mandate.
America shines when you're connected to Aubrey Shines. Here's your host, Aubrey Shines.
Hello and welcome to America Shines. I am your host, Aubrey Shines. The last few days have been, in my opinion, quite interesting in regard to former President Joe Biden. The Hurt tapes have been released in their entirety, and they shed light on Joe Biden's mental state during his time as president. Politics aside, most people could see that Joe Biden was not all there. Several instances showed him struggling to remember key dates, as well as going off unrelated tangents during live events. And several legacy media outlets kept telling us that he's fine, and even vilified those of us who just had questions. However, Biden was able to fulfill the signing of various executive orders, bills, and pardons, but with the topic of Biden's overall health now at the discussion, are there any legal repercussions for Biden's team if it's found out that he was indeed not capable of doing the job? Here to discuss and to really help us with this, with me is William Jacobson. He is one of the clinical professors at Cornell University. Attorney, thanks so much, Professor, for jumping in here. Tons of questions. I'm going to be having some of my friends over at Heritage to help us address this. We have a lot in our following, especially some that matriculate various universities. They have these same questions. We're not seeming to get a proper answer. Just a basic question. If we find out, and I think it's safe to say that we will pretty soon here, that Joe Biden, sitting president, actually did know what he was signing, if signing at all, is this legal? Can someone do this and still maintain a direction that is legal? William.
Well, I think as long as he actually signed things, as long as he was the president, I think they're valid signatures. It's more of a political issue, whether he knew what he was doing. But I think the questions that are being raised are the items he didn't actually physically sign himself. You know, there is a procedure to remove a president who is incapable of doing the job. They did not invoke that procedure. So I can't imagine the Supreme Court, for example, saying that we're going to go back and we're going to look at everything a president signed and try to make an after-the-fact assessment whether he understood it and was capable of understanding it. That's very different from the other issue, which is the use of the auto pen and whether he actually specifically authorized each one. So there's two different issues here.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I want you to take a look at this here, because this is something one of the producers sent over to us. I also sent this, in all fairness, to several of my colleagues at a couple of universities and said, look, how do you teach your law class this? And I want you to see this, William, and then jump back in and give us commentary to it. Guys, let's go to the SOT number 3 here.
In other words, you have all these instances where you can show that something was signed by an auto pen when Joe Biden was not even physically present, aware, around at all. And so the accumulation of evidence makes clear that Joe Biden had no awareness, no knowledge, no participation, and frankly, in the administration of government for 4 years, but in particular, in this case, with respect to these pardons, which then means, of course, the Department of Justice has its own authorities to pursue as it sees fit.
So be a little myopic with our viewers here, Mr. Jacobson, on that particular issue. We hear what Stephen Miller is saying. If that is true, and again, they seem to have all of their cards in a row here on that, but let's just assume they do, and what they're saying is valid, et cetera, et cetera. Do we have a legal problem? Is there a constitutional problem if that is actually factual, William?
Well, I think there is. If Joe Biden was not present when the auto pen was used, if he did not know it was being used on a specific document, if he did not authorize it to be used on a specific document, then I think he didn't sign it. The Constitution, when it comes to pardons, gives that pardon power to the president, not to whichever assistant happens to be in the office using the auto pen that day. So I think that's very serious. How it plays out is a more complicated issue. With regard to the pardons, there were several different options the way it could play out. One, Trump could just simply issue an executive order saying the federal government is not going to recognize these pardons. That would then require somebody to go into court, to presumably someone who received a pardon, to challenge it. Another way it could come up would be for the federal government to go into court to seek a declaration that in those specific circumstances where Joe Biden did not authorize the auto pen, was not aware of it, and was unaware that his name was being used, have that declared invalid. The third way would be the Department of Justice actually moves to prosecute somebody who got a pardon for a crime that was supposedly pardoned, and then that would present itself in the criminal case. So there's many ways this could play out, but I think it's a very serious issue. If they have the evidence that he was unaware that the auto pen was being used to sign his name to a specific document, then I think that's a major problem.
Clinical Professor of Law William A. Jacobson is who we are having to address this. Again, let me beat in the bushes here just a little more, because I know my audience, and we have a large audience that follows us, not just in our universities. We have a very large audience that follows with a lot of ecumenical leaders across this nation. What I'm hearing you saying is, I don't know, isn't this in a constitutional crisis? Have we ever been here before? And if so, what did it look like? If not, is there enough courage in our system to really make these wrongs correct, in your opinion? I'm asking you, of course, to read the tea leaves here. But are we at a constitutional crisis then with this, William?
Well, I don't know if it's a crisis, but it is a constitutional challenge. If the constitutional power to issue pardons and reprieves under the Constitution was misappropriated by some staffer and the president didn't actually exercise it, then that's a very serious situation. People have been relieved of the burden of their crimes, not by presidential power, but by some aide's power. So I think it is really, whether it's a crisis or it's a challenge, I don't know if the courts have the strength to declare prior pardons invalid, but maybe this is the case to test. This is the time to test it. This is the time, if they have the evidence of what we've been talking about being true, that this essentially were some aides, White House aides gone rogue, then I think if that evidence is there, I think the courts need to have to deal with it.
I have two questions, and one I'll only be able to address on this side of our filming here, and then the second one we pick you back up. What about the aides that did sign this, unbeknownst to President Joe Biden? Are they in a legal pickle here, William?
Well, there could be. I think an aggressive prosecutor probably could find some fraud or conspiracy statute that might cover that conduct, where you are falsely signing the president's name to a document. So yes, I think if somebody used the auto pen to sign Joe Biden's name without his permission, without his knowledge, to a document he never authorized, then I think that person has legal liability, criminal liability.
Clinical Professor William A. Jacobson, he's coming back because our audience have several more questions, and God knows that I really, really do. I'm going to vicariously live through our guests here this morning. I'm not an attorney. I don't even pretend to play one. But there are those of us who do deep dives on subjects of this magnitude. We're concerned. Forget about our party, what line you're on, what aisle you belong in. This is America, and if we don't have laws, we'll become an anarchist state. I don't want to see that happen. Coming right back with William Jacobson right after a quick break.
Hello, this is Mike Huckabee. President Trump said he wants to take back the White House and teach our kids to love our country. That's why my team created the Kids Guide to President Trump. It'll teach your kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his vision for America. And right now, I want to give it to you for free as part of this free gift bundle.
Order your free kids guide to President Trump, get a free bonus guide, and a free membership to AMAC featuring dozens of money-saving benefits at kidsneedtrump.com. That's kidsneedtrump.com.
Wounded Warrior Project empowers post 9/11 veterans and their families with life-changing programs and services.
I realized I could be successful in a civilian career.
We stand by warriors and advocate for their needs going forward.
They were by my side in the hospital, and they're still with me today.
Through our programs, community, and advocacy, we're proving
anything is possible.
Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/connect.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
Did you know that somebody could literally steal your house? Yeah, that is a thing that happens. It is when a criminal forges your signature on one document, uses one fake notary stamp, they then take out loans using your home equity, and the worst part of it is, you don't even know it's happening until you start getting collections and foreclosure notices. This right here is why you need to use Home Title Lock.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
Is your body ready for summer?
We're gonna build a body you can be proud of. You just give me 30 minutes a day for 21 days, and I promise you, the weight will come off.
This is 21 Day Fix, the perfect program to get you summer ready.
I am in perfect shape for my bikini.
I had that sexy little beef.
Get simple fitness, simple nutrition, fast results in just 21 days.
Get ready for summer with 21 Day Fix. This week, try it free at 21dayfix.com. That's 21dayfix.com.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. Don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-899-6246.
The battle cry of freedom.
This is very interesting. Democratic representatives are now being questioned on whether or not Joe Biden was mentally fit to be in office. And while they were so adamant about dismissing concerns over the former president's health, we knew something was off. But something that is on the American people's mind is then who is influencing Joe Biden's hand in approving and signing things, and what are the legal implications if the person responsible is revealed. So he's here to help us again, William Jacobson. He is the clinical professor at Cornell. Before we bring him in, I want our audience, you, look at this clip, and we're going to get the professor to comment to this. Let's go to the clip.
In the course of explaining that memo about Afghanistan, you said to Mark, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs. And so you can imagine, we are curious what you meant when you said, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs.
I don't remember. I'm not supposed to speculate, right? So, correct. Okay, well, I don't remember, and it may have been, I just don't remember.
Hey, I want my audience to know I didn't vote for Joe Biden, but I don't like seeing anyone like this. This could be my dad or an uncle. I just don't think it's right for any of us to abuse anyone, especially our elderly, the kids in our system. And I think this is where all of us have to divorce ourselves from whatever political alliance we may have. We should be concerned about the individual. I don't like this. I think this is hurtful to watch this, that this man was a leader over the greatest nation on this earth. William, I want to go back to where I left off. You made it crystal clear, in my opinion, that there could be some great prosecutor that comes along, looks at the individuals that did this unbeknownst to Joe Biden. Obviously, he has no clue. And I say that with a broken heart. I really, really do. If that's the case, then, William, what I would like to know is, then if he pardoned individuals, whether it was Dr. Fauci or whomever he may have allegedly pardoned, and is proof that he did, are those individuals then, I don't know, open to come back, and maybe Congress calls them in and say, hey, wait a minute, here's the validity, it didn't happen. No, we are going to subpoena you guys. Is that possible, William?
Well, the pardons would not protect people, even if they're valid, from being subpoenaed. It would protect them from being prosecuted. So I don't think that would impede a congressional investigation. It would impede a criminal prosecution if the pardons are valid. And in fact, one of the things that people were talking about at the time of these mass pardons by Biden is this would now open up some witnesses and avoid them being able to invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege against testifying against yourself. Because now with the pardon in place, they're not at risk of prosecution. So I don't think it will impede Congress if Congress has the will and the skill, and those are two very questionable items, whether they have the will and the skill to do a thorough investigation here. But people can be subpoenaed and brought in to testify. Whether they can subpoena a former president is a little touchier issue. I'm not sure there's necessarily a legal impediment, but I think there's a practical impediment that's normally not done.
From your perch as professor, what bothers you the most of everything that our public is witnessing? Again, you have a privilege in this regard. Obviously, your jurisprudence background gives you a different sight than most that did not go down that particular stream of education. So when you look at it professionally through your own acumen, what concerns you about everything that William A. Jacobson that you're looking at? What's your biggest concern out there? I'm just curious.
Well, my big concern is the complete deception that took place, that the public was deceived as to who this person was. Remember, even in the 2020 election cycle, he ran the so-called basement campaign using COVID as an excuse, that the people around him and the people in the know knew he was incompetent to be president. And I don't mean that politically incompetent. That's a political viewpoint. But He was mentally incompetent to be president. He never should have been president. We all know that now, and people are coming out of the woodwork confessing to that. And that troubles me because we like to think of our system as operating under a clear set of rules and a clear set of guidelines under the Constitution. But when it comes down to it, there still is a measure of good faith in the system. The system requires that people act with a certain, at least minimal level of good faith in what they do. And I think it's fair to say that the people around Joe Biden, the people who pushed him forward, both in the campaign, but most importantly, when he was president, breached that good faith obligation they owe to the public to, you can disagree with him politically, you can disagree with his policies, but don't deceive the public as to what is going on with his physical and mental condition. And it's becoming very clear that the public was deceived. So I think what happened here is really a breach of that core basis of trust that is required under our constitutional system.
Your opinion, are we going to see anyone, I don't know, be held responsible for these nefarious acts that we've all witnessed here in this country? Just your opinion. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think it depends on the level of proof that is gathered during this investigation. If it is clearly proven that there were individuals who abused their power to create fraudulent signatures of the president on various documents by use of the auto pen without his knowledge, without his understanding, without his presence, then I think we will see prosecutions. I think this current Department of Justice will move forward, but I think they'll only move forward if they have an extremely strong case, because they know how politically charged it will be to try to call into question pardons that were issued, and also prosecute people for use of the auto pen and other deception. So if the evidence is there, I think there will be prosecutions, and I think this will move forward.
How do we safeguard ourselves moving forward? Is there something, I don't know, new that we should do? Because, again, we do deep dives here, and it seems like we really have, William, all of the necessary buffers in place. Maybe I'm missing 10,000 of them. If I am, what buffer could we put out there to make sure moving forward in the future something like this never, ever happens again? William.
Well, I think that's tough. I think it's tough to put in those sort of guardrails. Ideally, in a better world, not the world we live in, but in a better world, the press would do that. But we know that the press was in cahoots with this, that they were helping cover it up. They were calling the videos of Joe Biden wandering aimlessly, cheap fakes, I think was the term the media used. So the fact that we don't have, the so-called fourth branch of government to keep a check on the presidency is really troubling. I think democratizing the, access to the president by the press, opening it up to other outlets that are willing to challenge a president, regardless of what party the president is in. I think those things will help. But I think we've identified a real risk in our system that the people around the president, if not challenged by the media, if not challenged, by people in the White House, can get away with a lot, and that's really troubling. So there are some things in our system to which there is no real solution and no problem, but I think a good start will be to shine a bright spotlight on what actually happened here. I think, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I think the whole Biden era and the whole Biden mental issue needs to have a huge spotlight put on it. They can't just let it drop, because only by embarrassing the people involved, only by naming and shaming them, only by exposing the evidence, and if warranted, criminal prosecutions, will you caution future administrations against doing what happened here.
I'm very concerned. I'm not a pessimistic guy. I'm very optimistic. I really do see the glass always half full. I just do for various reasons. I am concerned. I have a lot of friends that are in media. I look at what, unfortunately, they're not doing. I watch young guys, girls matriculate through various universities studying jurisprudence, and I'm a little concerned that our republic, in the words of Benjamin Franklin, if we don't maintain this thing, we could lose this thing. And I'm concerned. Optimistic, you have 5 seconds here. Optimistic or pessimistic? William Jacobson.
Unfortunately, I'm pessimistic. I think the internet and social media, which could have been a liberating force for information, is so abused, I think it's making it harder.
Clinical professor, Cornell University, William A. Jacobson. Go out and check everything out this gentleman is doing. We're going to post and paste everything, where he is, what he's involved in. He is a voice of reason, and I love his clarity. We're coming right back with another guest from Heritage. You want to hang out and check this out as well. See you in a moment.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
The battle cry of freedom.
So, back on January 10th of this year, President Trump was given an unconditional discharge for the charges brought up against him. The president was granted this judgment since his legal team argued that if the charges were to stick, then they would impede with his ability to run the country. So Judge Juan Burgum heard this argument and imposed the aforementioned unconditional discharge. President Trump's options for appeal are open, but what are the conditions to successfully appeal? Now, I know a lot has happened, but here to discuss this with me is Charles Stimson. He is with Heritage. We've had him on before. Fantastic work that Mr. Stimson does. I want to show every one of you guys a video clip and get Charles to comment on it. Let's go to the clip.
Without encroaching upon the highest office in the land is an unconditional discharge, which the New York State Legislature has determined is a lawful and permissible sentence for the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree. Therefore, at this time, I impose that sentence to cover all 34 counts. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office. Thank you.
Charles, when I saw this, I confess my heart dropped because I thought, where are we in this nation that this type of behavior with these judges can continue to go on like this? Was this overdue? Should he have not done this when the Supreme Court there said, hey, you don't really have anything going for you? Why did it take so long for this judge to make this decision, Charles?
Thanks for having me on again. The judge issued this unconditional discharge, which is a lawful punishment under New York state law, and it essentially means you get nothing. You get no probation, no parole, no home confinement, no public service, no community service, no prison, no jail, nothing. But the key is that the conviction stands. And so under New York state law, the president, through his attorneys, had 30 days to note an appeal. They noted their appeal on the 29th of January, so well within the 30 days. And now, and the key about that one is they not only noted an appeal on the substance of the charges, but the sentence itself. And so we have not yet seen their substantive pleading laying out in exquisite detail all the mistakes that happened at trial, and there were a lot in my opinion, and then the reason the sentence was inappropriate under the circumstances. So there's more to this story. We don't know what the end was going to be.
So then, Charles, are we seeing, again, you're the legal expert here, are we seeing a systemic abuse? Because it's not just this one, you know, in all fairness. Our producers could have put up 20 various injunctions that are out there. I'm thinking about one of the recent ones that I just came to memory right now with the Department of Education, where we have a judge stepping in saying, hey, President, you don't have a right to constitutionally do what you have been given constitutionally to do. Am I overreading that? Am I going too fast with my thoughts, my theories? Maybe I did not understand this properly when I was in school, but I thought the president had the right to do exactly what he's doing, what we're seeing. We've seen other presidents, whether Barack Obama, others. I didn't see any judges blocking, stopping, stepping in. What's going on here? Why do we see these nefarious, in my opinion, judges doing something that they really have no power to do? Charles, please help our audience understand that.
Remember, under our Constitution, the Constitution sets up a Supreme Court and such inferior courts as the Congress may declare. And so Congress has created, under various judicial acts, appellate courts at the federal level and then district court judges across the country. And that can change, and it has changed over the decades. But until recently, you did not see federal district court judges. The key word is district. Their domain is an area that has left and right, north and south boundaries. District court judges issuing nationwide or universal injunctions, stopping the commander-in-chief or the chief executive from implementing a policy. Half of the universal or nationwide injunctions that have been issued in the past 50 years have been issued against President Trump. Now, to be fair, Republican attorneys general filed suits in federal district courts, not only against Obama, but then especially against President Biden, and judges issued nationwide injunctions there, too. So the debate that's going on in the legal academy now and at the Supreme Court is, should a district court judge's ruling be confined to the parties in front of them and the district they're in, or should it have national implications? And I don't think we've seen the end of the story there, but the court is eventually going to have to take that up and decide whether to limit the amount of a district court judge's ruling to the parties in front of him or her, or to the country. And if it's to the country, should it involve issues only dealing with constitutional issues? Ultimately, it's Congress's job. Congress needs to wake up, smell the coffee, and define by statute what a district court judge's power is. One of the proposals we put forward is that, much like in the voting rights domain, if a district court, if a plaintiff is asking for a universal nationwide injunction, then that must go before a 3-judge district court panel instead of a 1-judge, and an appeal can be taken directly to the Supreme Court. But this runaway train needs to be stopped.
You speak of our Congress, and again, we only have 30 seconds in this block. I want to come back to that same thing. Just your opinion. I don't see the titanium in the backbone with some of our congressional leaders to really kind of step up and do it. They have the power of the purse. I remember these things in school. Why can't they just say, hey, look, until you guys get your act together, forget about what side of the aisle you're on, until you begin to do your job and do it as it relates to our Constitution. I don't have any hope that our congressional leaders, maybe tomorrow it'll change, I don't know. But Charles, I just don't see them having the titanium in their backbone to do what you say they should be doing, which I agree with you. Am I seeing this wrong? Take 10 seconds, we'll jump back on it. Am I overlooking something here in your opinion?
You're dead right. Senator Mike Lee and others have championed these types of reforms, but there's not a broader appetite to fix it.
Yeah, and that bothers me because we put these guys and girls in office to do just that, to do their freaking job, and we're not seeing them do this. It's really, really, it's tiresome, to say the least. Look, we're coming right back. He's a senior fellow there at Heritage Foundation. I love the foundation. You guys know I'm always pushing you. Go to Heritage. Go to Heritage. And we have with us Charles Stimson. We're going to come right back with him. A lot of more questions when we return. We'll be right back.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Join the over 2 million Americans who love this country. Join the over 2 million members who love America. Join AMAC.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
It's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
Is your body ready for summer?
We're gonna build a body you can be proud of. You just give me 30 minutes a day for 21 days, and I promise you, the weight will come off.
This is 21 Day Fix, the perfect program to get you summer ready.
I am in perfect shape for my bikini.
I had that sexy little beef.
Get simple fitness, simple nutrition, fast results in just 21 days.
Get ready for summer with 21 Day Fix. This week, try it free at 21dayfix.com. That's 21dayfix.com.
Do you have stains in your carpet that won't come out? You need Horsepower Bullshot, the all-new hands-free carpet cleaner and deodorizer. Just spray, and the stain and odor go away. Got pet messes? This black light shows a urine stain is gone in just seconds. The advanced foam action formula penetrates deep to emulsify and neutralize stains and odors. It erases blood stains, makeup, juice, coffee, and more. For older and tougher stains, just give it a little rub and watch as Bullshot works its magic. Red wine spills? They're no problem for Bullshot. And watch up close as burnt bacon grease stains are obliterated right before your very eyes. Get Horsepower Bullshot for only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get yours. And there's a strict limit of 3 at this low, low price. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-690-6127 or visit buybullshot.com. So call 1-800-690-6127 or visit buybullshot.com now.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch, 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it. The secret is perfect cook technology for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve. It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system, all for just $39.99. Order now.
A lot of questions for our guests. I said this at the close of our last block. I want to say it again. I am personally a huge fan of Heritage. I've been there so many times when one of the other leaders was there at the helm. I am still a huge fan of Heritage. I think all of us should be supporting Heritage. No, they're not paying me to say that. I just think that the body of work that they do is something that all Americans can benefit from. So I have with us again Charles Stimson. He's been with us before. I love the body of work that this gentleman does. Charles, I want to jump right in. We're looking at illegal immigration here in this country. And I've been thinking about this just in my drive time, a few places that I was lecturing on this past week. And here was the thought that came to me. There's a process where illegal immigrants in their country to go to, before they illegally break in to get into our country, they can apply for certain things to say, hey, look, I would like to go to the United States for reasons A and B. Okay, those things they're obviously not doing those things. So if we're talking due process here in the United States, that everyone has due process, does that include people that did not follow the law to get here? Please help our audience understand that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to distinguish between due process rights that criminal defendants get, regardless of their legal status in this country, which include the Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial, Fifth Amendment right, Fourth Amendment right against illegal searches and seizures, Eighth Amendment right against cruel and unusual punishment. versus administrative process rights for people who are here illegally in the country. Those are two very separate things. And remember that Congress decides who can and cannot be a citizen, but our country takes in 1.2 million legal immigrants a year. And so the due process rights are the rights that Congress and the executive branch gives illegal aliens. And so the immigration courts are run by the executive branch. They and they alone decide the rules for those. And when I first started writing about this, there were about 800,000 cases on the immigration court docket. Now there's over 3 million. And immigration judges don't have the right to, for example, issue judgment on the pleading or summary judgment rulings, which means cases take 4 years from cradle to grave, 90% of which fail because there's no merit to their asylum claims. And so the question today is, since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris let in 10 to 20 million illegal aliens and abused the parole and asylum processes, completely abused them, does the next president have to go on a case-by-case basis and give them some process to boot them out? Yes, they're going to get some process. It's going to look nothing like a criminal trial, nor should it. I think we're still waiting to see what those processes need to be. But Congress can, again, weigh in. This is back to your lack of a spine comment. Weigh in and say, your right to process is this, not that, like a criminal person.
So the criminal versus the civil case, I get it. I get the difference there in the language. So, you know, this sounds harsh to certain individuals, but I'm looking at our country. If we allow things to go the way they're going, and our Supreme Court doesn't step in, by the way, they say, oh, we don't really step in until something happens. Well, Chief Judge Roberts did. And I tried to do a research. I looked with everything that was in me to find out if they never really, quote, speak about a case until it gets to their forefront there at the Supreme Court. Why did Judge Robertson step out in front and have a position on, hey, Congress, you guys shouldn't be looking to impeach judges? Why did he speak at all? If he says, hey, we don't do that, then why did he do that? Our audience are looking for answers to that because, again, I didn't hear any of them, Charles, say anything about the tens of millions of people. And by the way, this doesn't just hurt one group. This hurts us all. Try going to an emergency room, and you'll find out who's in there, who shouldn't be in there. That means our citizens are not getting the help they need because our doctors are flooded. Again, I could go from the hospitals to our educational systems, and it doesn't stop. Fake Social Security numbers that are being given out. There's a lot, and it's impacting citizens of the United States of America. In your opinion, why hasn't the Supreme Court, I don't know, shot an arrow over the bow way before it gets there to let the other judges know, hey, guys, stop it. If it gets here, it's going to be DOA. Or am I asking for too much civility here, Charles?
The answer is that a case has not been squarely presented on the merits to the Supreme Court to weigh in yet. They've only dealt with procedural issues and sent it back to the lower courts to build a full and complete record, which is entirely appropriate. It leaves a bad taste in some people's mouth, obviously yours and others, but a question on the merits hasn't reached the court yet. That does not take away the responsibility of the executive branch to do the right thing, which they haven't done for years. We've been encouraging the Attorney General of the United States, Republican and Democrats alone, to give immigration judges, which are housed in the Justice Department, the ability to rule on the pleadings, the written papers in front of them, and to give summary judgment approval authority and give them contempt authority. Believe it or not, almost 2 decades ago, Congress passed a statute authorizing the Attorney General to give his own immigration judges contempt authority to be able to wag his finger and dismiss bad cases. They never did that. In the first Trump administration, Bush administration, Clinton administration, Obama administration, Biden administration, no Attorney General has done that. And here's why that matters. It sounds nerdy. It's not. Immigration judges caseloads would go down by 70 to 90% if they had those three tools. You could wipe away millions of cases in a few months if you gave them the same tools that every judge across this country have, but they haven't done it. So that's one fix that's mandatory and needs to happen. And then you need to flush the system and get rid of people who are here illegally and start with the people who have final orders of removal, which is about 1.2 million people.
Wow. How easy is it to really do? And I hear you. I followed your logic there. If there's something already, for lack of better words, on the books, why not AG just take up that position right there and just say, hey, here it is. This is what we're going to do. How simple would that be? Or again, are we talking, again, the lack of titanium that some don't find in individuals' backbones there?
Easier than brushing your teeth.
Wow. That simple, Charles, yeah. Really?
Easier than tying your tie. All you have to do is either you can go to Heritage and take the model language we have and just implement it. Pam Bondi's a prosecutor's prosecutor. She has more prosecutorial experience than any one of the 80 or so attorneys general in this country. She gets it. And so tonight, before dinner, between the appetizer and the entree, she could issue an order. You will do contempt authority. You will have summary judgment authority. You will have the ability to rule on the pleadings. And poof, about, 2.5 million cases would go away from the immigration judge's caseload, and they would be dismissed summarily, and then they could get finals order of removal and flushed out of this country. And that would add to the 1.2 who already have final orders of removal. The problem with immigration judges is that once they order Billy Bob or Susie Q removed from the country, they're not like a regular judge. The bailiff doesn't sit in the back of the courtroom, hook them up, and perp walk them out of the back of the courtroom. They give them an order of removal, which is 6, 9, 10 months, a year later, and then they're supposed to voluntarily show up to leave the country. Most don't. So they're not like real judges, but at least you could give them those three tools to be more like real judges. And I'm speaking as a former real judge. I was a judge for 5 years. I had real authority. When I send somebody to prison, they're gone. But these judges aren't. So you got to treat them like adults. They're sitting at the kiddie table right now with a bib on, and you got to give them the tools to be a real judge.
Real quick, 5 seconds. Are we going to see Pam Bondi? My friend, I love her. Are we going to see Pam do it? Charles?
Hope so. I have faith in her. I think she will.
I hope so too. Charles Stimson, everyone, go out and check out Heritage. We're going to post all of Charles' work out there. I love Heritage Foundation. You can see the reason why. Those guys and girls are on top of it. I think they have some of the best minds in our country. Coming right back. You don't want to miss this last portion here. We'll see you in a moment.
I got this $1,000 camera for only $41 on DealDash.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20.
I got this KitchenAid stand mixer for only $56.
I got this barbecue smoker for $26.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Wounded Warrior Project empowers post-9/11 veterans and their families with life-changing programs and services.
I faced my PTSD, and I'm a better husband and father because of it.
We help warriors get the expert care and support to thrive.
I got involved. I got healthier. I got to be an athlete again.
Through our programs, community, and advocacy, we're proving
anything is possible.
Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/connect.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men, the first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit ParticleMen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.particlemen.com. Because seeing is believing.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
The battle cry of freedom.
We're coming up here on our Memorial Day weekend, and it would just be remiss of me not to take a moment and just say how all of us should really honor the work that so many have done before us. Many have just given their entire lives to make sure that you and I are here, that we can discuss issues and topics and debate and agree and disagree without being disagreeable. This is because of the great sacrifice of so many that made sure that we maintain a great republic. Part of that republic, when you go back, and I really hope that each of you this weekend would take a moment, please pull out your Bill of Rights, please pull out your Constitution, go back and read these things again. It's necessary because you'll see how far away we've drifted away from the original intent of what these great framers are. I have, and I'm on record for saying this, by the way, I really believe that our founders were divinely inspired by God. I've studied history. I've looked at history prior to ours here in the United States. I've studied the Magna Carta. I've looked at other civilizations that didn't make it. And I'm looking at our great civilization. And we're really far along. As a matter of fact, according to statistics, we should have already been at our demise. We're here, we're fighting. It's in our DNA. And I have to give credit to these founders who, in my opinion, they understood this because they had what I call a biblical worldview. One of the things that they made sure that all Americans and all people, in my opinion, should have access to, and that's a great media. We don't have that great media any longer. We have such a biased group of individuals that say and do things that really damage so many of us. I want you to see this clip, and I'll come right back and comment to it. Let's go to that clip.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. And
did you hear the liar, Joe Scarborough? Again, one of the largest, wealthiest journalists, so-called, that's out there. He lied. It wasn't just him. I could have taken clips from every station, including CNN, others, CBS, ABC. They all tried to make us believe how healthy and wise, and this is the best Joe Biden ever. And he went on to borderline use profanity to really kind of flip all of us off, to say, hey, and if you don't believe it, not my words, his words, he came very close to an expletive there to make sure you and I understood how passionate he was, how accurate and how sturdy and strong and smart, and how on top of Joe Biden's game. He was a liar. Our whole media legacy outlet, they lied to you, the American public. Those of us who do this week in and week out, we knew he was lying. it's not because we needed some secret eyes in the White House. We realized that Joe Biden ran a campaign from his basement. They tried to make people in America believe that he, even in the black community, would get more votes than Barack Obama by millions. We all knew it was a lie. Joe Biden's been and have had racial positions all the days of his life. One of his champions was one of the greatest races that there was. And this is not me making this up. I watched the hearings when Justice Thomas was being selected by the group then to ascend to the Supreme Court. It was Joe Biden that led that what I called high-tech lynching. I'm stealing the words, of course, of Justice Clarence Thomas here. It was Joe Biden. And now when we watch the media like Joe Scarborough and these others, now they're backtracking. Now they're saying, well, we didn't know it. Well, sure you did. You knew exactly what you were saying. You were pushing an agenda. This is why I really appreciate our guests that we just had on today, because there is an agenda, and that agenda is to destroy this nation. They are in cahoots with our media. Our media, when you study the Constitution, should be a neutral voice. It should just be a voice. Give us the facts. Let us make our own decisions. Don't lead us. Don't guide us. Don't write the narratives before we get there. No, don't do that. Give us the data. Let us see it for ourselves. We can make that determination. This is why I wanted to pause and say, here at Real America's Voice, not just this show here at America Shines, but other great optics that are on as well every day of the week. We do the deep dives. We really do. We know the data. We have the numbers. We crunch them. We bring in the best guests that will give you, the audience, a real view of what's really going on. I'm really honored on this Memorial Day weekend to be able to say to you, this is the greatest country that there is on planet Earth. Let's keep it that way by shining the light on the things that are necessary to make sure that we continue to have a great nation. I pray that you have a blessed weekend. Until next week, I bid you peace.
There's a concerted effort to intimidate and censor conservative thinkers. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are being threatened by the most liberal progressives America has ever seen. It seems like everything they do is to the detriment of our great nation. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the left. Join AMAC. AMAC is a voice for conservatives that cannot be